How do you detach from the outcome of a sales call? Well, that's exactly what a student asked me, and in today's video, I want to explain exactly to you how you can detach from the outcome of a sales call, but still be interested in the life of your prospect. Now, my name is Leofery, and I've helped hundreds of people get really, really good at sales and have personally closed over 6 figures in sales in the last couple of months, right? So let's get into it. Now, the first thing you have to understand is why detaching from the outcome is the most important thing. And we'll tell you a little story about that. When I started sales, I, like everyone else, wanted to close. And so bad that the only thing in my mind was, okay, how can I get them to close? And, my mentor told me, hey, Leo, stop caring about the outcome. And so I did that. And I remember one day, I think it was around winter time, and I had a sales call. It was super late. It was a Canadian woman, and I was in Europe. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning for me, and I just didn't care at all, to the point where I literally got bullied by that overweight woman on a sales call. That was probably the worst down point in my life. That woman was a really bad real estate agent, and I just took the shit, which I shouldn't have done. Now, then my question was, well, how do I detach from the outcome, but I still care about the prospect and still care about myself as well, right? Now, how do you find the right middle? Now, why you should not care about the outcome is because you can't control the outcome. Well, what I mean by that? There's so many factors you can't control when going into a sales call. To give you an example, how much money they have available right now. Are they going to travel for the next couple of months? Did their parents just pass away and they're emotionally unable to take decisions? Whatever. There's so many reasons and so many things you can't control. Now, of course, you can try to influence the decision, which is sales. Sales is trying to influence someone as to why he should buy from you, right? Sorry. So, you can influence it, but you can't control it. And if you understand that you can't control someone buying your marketing program or your AI agent for 2K a month or 5K one-time fee, because right now they're not in the mental state of buying, which is usually the biggest problem. I will tell you the biggest reason I've seen across thousands of sales calls I've taken myself and hundreds of sales calls I've reviewed is if the prospect is mentally not in the state of buying because he has limiting beliefs, or he is deluded and doesn't understand his own problems, right? He doesn't want to see the problems that he has. You can do everything, but you won't close him, right? You can try, and you're going to spend 5 hours on that sales call, and you're going to try to fight against someone who doesn't want to believe something, which literally makes no sense, right? So now when I go into sales call, I know I can't control the outcome of the sales call. But what can I control? Myself, right? You can control how you speak. You can control what question you ask, your tonality. Those are things you can control. And so if you focus on yourself instead of the outcome, and you getting step by step better and better, this is how you stop caring about the outcome, because you can't control the outcome. So instead, focus on the prospect. Have genuine curiosity, because I will tell you one thing. People buy from people they trust, and you should always remember that line. People buy from people they trust. So your one goal during a sales call is to buy and build that trust. Because once you have that trust, you can sell them later down the line. Today, on my calls, I don't sell anyone. I've not sold in so long. The only goal I have is to build trust with the prospect. Now, that doesn't mean to be liked. What it means is to be understood. And how do you become understood? Is by becoming related. And how to become related? Well, a bunch of words to say a simple thing. Be curious about them. By asking questions about them. By getting to know them. It's not you having to speak about yourself. You don't care about me. You only care about yourself, and so does a prospect. And so when you start caring about them, guess what will happen? They will naturally start trusting you. And to give you a little story about that, which is actually a crazy story, I once met a French-Russian girl, which name I'm of course not going to disclose because I don't want her to get some kind of hate because of me or whatever. And it was really interesting because that girl told me her entire life story, from the worst things that had happened to her, which you would normally not speak about. And she didn't even knew what I was doing. She didn't even know what hobbies I have. Nothing. She didn't know anything about me. Well, she told me everything about her. How did that got this happen? Two simple things. One, I just asked questions, and I'm happy to make another video speaking about what are the right questions to ask, because you don't want to ask yes and no questions. And I just deflected when she asked me a question. When she asked me a question, I just deflected the question and asked a question back. And so that's how she had complete trust in me while not knowing who I was, which is pretty scary, to be fair. But the same thing in sales. You do not have the time in an hour to get someone to know your life story. And for what's sake, you don't need them to know your life story. In the end, usually it's better if they know less about you, especially if you're a beginner, right? The only thing they want to know is that you can help them get results. That's the only thing they want to know, right? They don't need to know more. But on the other side, you want to know more. Because people, like I said, buy for people to trust, and trust is built while they relate. And so you want, because stupidly enough, humans relate to you when they feel heard, when they feel listened to, when they feel understood. Which makes no sense, because you might have complete different stories, but if you just listen to someone's story, they will feel like you relate to them, because nobody cares about someone else. And so when you care about someone else, they will start trusting you, right? So, quick sum to this point. Number one thing, detach from the outcome, because you can't control it. Instead, try to care about the prospect life, because that will make you build trust, which in the end is the only goal you should have in a sales call, which is to build trust, not to be liked, right? Because being liked is a side effect, but shouldn't be the goal. Because you shouldn't agree to things you wouldn't agree to just to be liked, right? And to be understood is two different things. So ask the right questions by being genuinely curious about them, about the life, about the business. Now, don't go too far off and ask them about the kids and the wife on the first call. That's a little bit too far, right? You want to keep it to the realm of business, right? You ask them how they're getting clients. The way you say it is really important. And that's what we're saying. What are the things you can control in a sales call? What you say, how you say it, how you mean it, your tonality, your vocabulary, your expression, your mimic, your gestic. Those are the things you can control. And so you want to control those things, right? So you have to understand that sales is pretty complicated, but you want to simplify it. I want to simplify it for you, right? So your number one goal in the sales call should be to build trust. And to build that trust, the number one thing you should focus on is asking the right questions. That's why why you should never use a sales script. But I'm going to make a separate video for that. Ask questions by being genuinely curious about them. So your number one job is just be curious about them. Get to know people, right? Why just try to hard sell someone if you can just get to know people? You never know how they're going to be able to help you, or who they know that you might be able to sell, or so on and so forth, right? So have the genuine curiosity about them, which will make them build trust with you. Understand that you can't control the outcome in most of the cases, and the only way you can control it is by building trust, and then objection handling and the other things I'm going to speak about in those next couple of videos. So there's no point in caring about the outcome. Instead, care about the prospect. So I hope this video really simplified a bigger portion of it, because I know there's so much more behind it. Like, I've spent over 900 hours learning sales on mentorship calls and over 1,200 sales calls last year. But I'm trying to summarize it so much for you so you can really have those few things to focus on, right? So I hope you could take those things with you, and I shall see you in the next one. Make sure to give this a follow. Bye-bye.